Hey there my lovelies, and welcome to my BookTube channel, The Sassy Library Fox. My name is V, and today I'm going for something I didn't do for quite a while. As already promised in my 5-year book anniversary video, I will be going for another library book haul. Yes! Finally, the library book hauls are back. I think the fact that I didn't do one of these for a well long time is mostly due to me reading books from the library constantly and always mentioning them in my wrap-up videos and in my to-be-read videos. And I think also because I didn't do huge library book hauls in a long while, but last time I was at the library and I kind of went on a binge. I tried to keep it down on the low for a very long time and not to borrow all too many books while I'm at the library, but the last time I just couldn't resist and borrowed 5 books once again. So I figured, perfect timing to do one of those videos. I might not get to read all of those books in the next month, but I will definitely read it in the next 2 to 3 months. And so different books will be on my wrap-up videos. Yeah, but without further ado, let's just do this and let's talk about the books I borrowed from my library. I got my coffee at the ready. I got some cheat sheets and I got all the books I borrowed from the library. Okay, so let's head to the first book I borrowed from the library, and it is Not for the Faint of Heart by Lex Croucher. And I think I gotta tell this here, all of the books I borrowed, or nearly all of the books I borrowed, and which I'm going to talk about here, are books with LGBTQ representation. So I recently complained that I didn't find any LGBTQ books at the library anymore, but turns out one of those libraries is specialized on LGBTQ books and queer books at that. So I tackled that one, which is probably the reason I took so many books with me. Yeah, go figure. Anyway, back to this book. I found this in the library. I didn't know Lex Croucher already wrote another book, but since I loved the first one, I think it was Gwen and Art Are Not in Love, I wanted to read this one as well because it's basically about Mariel and Clem. And from what I gathered from the blurb, Mariel is the granddaughter of Robin Hood, and her father Jack is Robin Hood's son. Yeah, and she is kind of the new leader of the, how are they called? The oh, I wrote it down somewhere here. She is the new leader of the Merry Men. Oh yeah, that's it. In English it's the Merry Men. And yeah, she's the new leader of the Merry Men and is still in clinch with the Sheriff of Nottingham. So she decides to kidnap one of his helpers, which happens to be Clem. And Clem is a healer that is kidnapped by Mariel and her Merry Men. It's so funny. But yeah, in retribution to stealing Clem, the Sheriff of Nottingham is taking in Mariel's father. So Jack is imprisoned and Mariel wants to save him with the help of Clem. She is more or less kidnapped, but she's still supposed to help her. And on that wicked chase through the forest, some sort of romance blooms between them. They need to share a horse. as you can see on the blurb, and they need to share yeah, a bed at night. This sounds really interesting. It's also a sapphic story, which I love. I so rarely get those in my hands, but this one I borrowed like nobody's business. And yeah, since it's a Robin Hood retelling, I'm pretty certain there will be very serious topics tackled as well. Knowing Lex Croucher, they might have gone for more serious topics as well. Yeah, I'm totally looking forward to read that one and to find out about Muriel's and Clem's antics. I'm so ready to dive into that one. Okay, next book I borrowed from the library is Kill Creatures by Rory Power. I already read another Rory Power book, and it was Wilder Girls. I really enjoyed that one up until the ending. The ending didn't do it for me, but the rest of the book was amazing. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, this is the second Rory Power book I borrowed from the library. And as for what it is about, there wasn't a lot of info on the blurb, aside of that Nan and her 3 friends were in a canyon and only Nan came out of it alive. Her other 3 besties died in the canyon or went missing and never appeared. And let's say Nan doesn't want to talk about what happened there. Yeah. At the 1-year anniversary of their disappearance, the family of those besties wants to hold a memorial in the canyon, and the memorial is crashed by one of the 3 missing girls that actually survived. Problem is, Nan doesn't want that girl to be back because there was a reason she got rid of them in the canyon. Huh. Yeah, this sounds very mysterious. We're supposed to believe that Nan killed them, so I wonder if there were sinister reasons behind that. If it was Nan being sinister, or maybe those 3. With Rory Power, you never know. It could go either way. So yeah, I'm totally looking forward to read this. Also, Kill Creatures as a title sounds very intriguing. The cover is great as well. I'm very, very curious how this is going to turn out. I'm glad I found it at my library because I actually wanted to read more books written by Rory Power. Okay, before I go to the next one, I'm gonna take a sip and get my hair out of the way. Yeah, the next book I found at the library, I had to borrow instantly, immediately, as soon as I saw it, and it was Icarus by Ancrum. I've seen that one on my feed for a very long time. I heard that it's some sort of Icarus retelling. But the interesting thing here is that Icarus is a thief. And Icarus and his father are always stealing art from the very same man. And he's just called, I think, Mr. Black. Yeah, Mr. Black. And they steal his precious art and artifacts and put replicas in there, so that Mr. Black isn't missing them and only finds out that they are replicas very late or when it's already too late. So his father makes the replicas, Icarus steals the original and swaps them. And they've lived like that for a very long time because Yeah, and that's the reason why they only steal from Mr. Black. Apparently Mr. Black is responsible for the death of Icarus' mom. So, one night, a job goes sideways and Icarus is caught. But not by Mr. Black, no, by his son, Helios, who is under house arrest in the house Icarus was caught in. And because Helios is so lonely, he makes a deal with Icarus. He isn't going to tell his father that he stole from him and put a replica into the, instead of the art. If he befriends him and if they start a friendship. So without any options, Icarus agrees and they form a friendship bond that turns into more the more time they spend with each other. I personally love the idea of thieves falling in love and of all the art and artifacts and rare special objects Icarus is stealing. Also, the sort of retelling spin that is put on this one sounds very great as well. And yeah, this one had me totally persuaded to read it. I'm very curious how it's going to end. And yeah, if Icarus and Helios will have their happy ending. But if it's anything like the original Icarus saga, it won't end well. Yeah, anyway, that is book number 3 I borrowed from the library. Another sip, another book introduction. Book number 4 I borrowed from the library, and it's Atmosphere by Jenkins Reid. I gotta say here, so far I loved every single one of Jenkins Reid's books. They were all great. Jenkins Reid has a gift to dive into a certain topic and to write it so persuasively that you totally dive into that world, and even though you never knew anything about it, you just pull for the characters and root for them. And yeah, the last book I read from her was the book that had to do with tennis. God, it was such a long title once again, I can't remember it right now, but I loved it back then. And Atmosphere is once again, I kind of find it interesting that a love story is written there. It's a book about a woman, and that woman is named Joanne Goodwin. And Joanne Goodwin is fascinated with stars, with the universe, with everything that's going on up there. Yeah. And then I think she's a professor at a university in physics and, what did it say? Yeah, in physics and in astronomy. Yeah, go figure. Should have known that, right? Anyway, she's a professor at university and she never thought that she would be able to actually go up in space. But then there's a special program launched and they are looking for female scientists to man a spaceship and to actually be the first ones to be in space. So she applies and actually wins against 1,000 of other competitors and is selected to be among a crew of 6 in total, I think. So we have 2 guys and 4 women that all have their very specific knowledge, and they are supposed to train in the summer of 1980. Yeah. And I honestly don't know more than that, because it says that they start to train and want to man that mission. but then the blurb ends. So I'm very curious how this book is going to be if Taylor Jenkins Reid manages to spread her magic like usually. I'm pretty certain I will gobble this up like nobody's business. And it also sounds very interesting because we have women in space, and that's so typical for Taylor Jenkins Reid, because she always picks women that do something really special and are among the best of their generation. So yeah, pumped for this one, so pumped for this one. And it's actually on my to be reading. I think it's the only book so far that's actually on my to be read of 2026 of all the books I spoke about. So pumped for this, totally pumped for this, and ready to dive into it. And the last and fifth book will be just an honorable mention, because it's Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. And I don't know if you remember that. If you've been around on my channel for about half a year already, or even longer, you will know that I wanted to read that one in September, and already had this copy into the can and said that it's going to be the book on my September to be read. And then I never spoke about the book, because as soon as I borrowed it from the library, another one pre-ordered it and I had to return it unread. Which is basically the same thing that happened just now. I borrowed that one from the library, and about, I don't know, a couple of days later, it said that it's already pre-ordered and that I have to return it now. Which means I once again won't be able to read this book. This was already try number 2. I will try to get this one into my hands for a third time to actually be able to read it. But quite honestly, if the third time around this is pre-ordered once again, and this time this is really annoying because apparently there are 2 copies at the library I borrowed this from, and they had to pre-order my copy. Nice, thank you. So you can tell my frustration about having to return this unread once again is very high. But quite honestly, I will try to get this one into my hands a third time. And if it's pre-ordered once again, I will just buy this book, because quite honestly, I don't know how often I have to try to get my hands on this copy. But yeah, I think 3 times is enough. So if I don't manage to borrow it for a third time, and even if I manage to borrow it and then have to return it quickly because another person already pre-ordered it once again, then I will just buy the book, because I can't wait forever to get this one into my hands. And it's been out for a very long time, and it's been on my to be read list of 2024 or 5, I don't know. It's been on my to be read list for a very long time, and I really want to read it. And yeah, fingers crossed, try number 3 will be the good one. But as the saying goes, third time's the charm, so let's hope the third time I'm going to borrow this, I will actually be able to read it. Okay, enough of my frustration. But yeah, if you borrow books from the library, this is a very, not a rare occurrence, but happens quite often. And yeah, the same thing unfortunately happened with What Feasts at Night. I wanted to read that one in March and put it on my March to be read for Minuscule March, but then didn't get the book in time from the library, even though I pre-ordered it. So yeah, I will have to read it in the months to come, because now it's finally at home, but March is already over, so yeah, I couldn't read it and count it to my reading challenge and to my minuscule March readathon, unfortunately. Anyway, that's it from me. I'm gonna take a last sip here. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this library book haul. Did you read some of the books I spoke about? Did you enjoy them or didn't you enjoy them? If you didn't, I would love to hear why not. You can always write it down in the comments below. And which books do you usually borrow from the library? Are you a library fan as much as I am? Do you go to the library regularly, or do you rather like to buy books, as I might do with Sunrise on the Reaping, because they're always borrowed? Yeah, I would love to know if you are a library lover as well. And I guess that's it. We're already at the ending of my video, and there's nothing left to say except of take care, stay healthy and safe, and see you around the next time. Bye!